The patient pays his good money for medical advice and medicine, and I believe he is at least entitled to know just what he is being given and why he is being given it. Let us remember here that the elaborate system of medicine as we have it today has not sprung into existence overnight. It is a result of the times in which we live. So accustomed are people to running to doctors at the first sign of illness that any other teaching seems strange to them. But people are by the thousands are turning their attention to the great life spirit and are obtaining the cures they seek, and this without any aid from pills and powders and knives. So much for drug medication. Now let us see what this mighty, living God has to say about it. When the Galilean carpenter was upon the earth, we read that at evening, when the sun was setting, that they brought to him all manner of sicknesses, and he healed them. Not in just one isolated case here and there, but he healed them all, no matter from what disease they were suffering. They all met the same result, healing. It is rather a significant fact that as soon as a person actually connects with the truth as it exists in the mighty living God, about the first thing to follow, if such a one be ill, is healing of the body. But at this point we must not forget the relation the body bears to the real self. We must never forget that this body of ours is but a temporary abiding place at best, and that when the spirit at bodily death leaves this body, then it is put into the ground, and that is the end of it. But that is not the end of you, for you are not your body by any means or manner. You are spirit, as the mighty living God is spirit, and had there been no disobedience way back yonder, you would have no body at all. Consequently, when the old body dies, the real you separated from this body lives on and on and on. If anyone ever tells you that as a body you will never die, you can safely inform him that he is mistaken. As a body you will die, but never as a spirit. If only this sense veil were not here, you would know everything that has ever happened from the beginning of the ages until now. As a body, however, you cannot possibly know it. So do not lose sight of the fact that the little time we spend upon this earth in this physical form amounts to absolutely nothing in the entire scheme of things. What is 70 or 80 years compared to an eternity? It is as the tick of a clock, and the wise man does not spend his time looking after the comforts of his body to the neglect of the real or spiritual body. Never forget that. I am constantly asked if we should know each other in heaven. My friend and student, the change from this physical life back to the spirit life will be such a stupendous one that I question very much if we shall know that we ever were on this old ball or not. We may, but I doubt it. Do not forget that when man's spiritual eyesight is restored, the mortal or physical eye will automatically close. Do we remember anything of what we were before the fall? Then why should we think that we shall remember anything about this miserable existence after these physical eyes are closed? I am not dogmatic about this point, however, and you are welcome to your own belief about it. What I am particular about is that every last one of my students shall connect with this mighty life spirit right here and now. You can forget the future when you have accomplished that. When we, therefore, consider this body as only a temporary dwelling place, and when we consider the death of it so very certain, then we shall not be so much concerned about it as we have been. True it is that we all want to be in perfect health while we are here, and we should be, and it is the proper thing for us to be. If we are not, then we do not believe this mighty life spirit, for where he is, there can be no illness. Remember that. But drugs and pills and powders will never do it. It will take a more potent power than that. One of the attributes of this mighty life spirit is that it heals our diseases. And along that line, let me say that there is nothing hard nor impossible for this mighty immutable spirit to do. It is entirely a matter of how much we believe in its presence. I can show any man or woman how to stop pain in a few moments, and there will be no drugs used either. All sickness and illness and disease is the result of a non-compliance with the immutable law we are here studying. And while some of it may be, and probably is, hereditary in the individual, in its essence, it is all caused by violation of the law we are here discussing. There are not two forces in the world, the one building up and the other tearing down. There is only one power in the universe, and that is the power of the living God. Were there any other power, then this God of ours could not possibly be God, as there would be opposition coming from some other quarter. And this I cannot admit, neither does any other psychologist of standing. What some refer to as a negative force opposed to the positive force is only essentially a failure to comply with the law of the only real force in the universe. Remember that. And remember also that for 2,000 years now, this disobedience has been more and more marked until today there are diseases and illnesses that were never heard of a few hundred years ago. If it be a fact that all sickness and illness is caused as a direct result of non-compliance with the law of the living God, then it must also be a fact that compliance with the mighty law will bring relief. And this great life spirit can and will and does cure every known disease today, whether it is considered incurable or not. If this great life spirit had power 2,000 years ago to raise the dead, open the eyes of the blind, unstop the deaf ears, do you mean to say to me that it has not still that power? You might not tell me that because I know better, and I know it by experience also. Letters in my possession prove that, and if any of my students are suffering from illness or disease of any sort, then in perfect confidence I say to such a one, the mighty living God can rebuke that sickness or illness so that it will leave where the power of the living God is contacted in sickness, and where the proper faith is used, it is an utter impossibility for that sickness to continue. And as you learn something about the power of this great life spirit, you will learn how to use it for the overcoming of whatever sickness you may be afflicted with. The way it usually works is as follows. Where a person becomes acquainted with or connects with this mighty life spirit for the first time, if that person be ill, this great spirit usually heals him. If such a one is not ill when he contacts this mighty, immutable force, the same force will keep him from becoming ill. Never forget, however, that it is possible for you to be healed this week and to die next week. You will die, never doubt that, and so it is that whatever healing you get from the living God, while it probably will continue as long as you manifest as a body, yet the old body will die sooner or later, and it is probably a good thing that it will. So remember that, but also remember that this mighty power is able and willing, and more than that, it is an immutable law that you cannot ask this mighty power for anything and ask aright and not get it. End of Lesson 9.